Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of PPG Radio. Today I wanted to talk about juice or genetics, specifically in relation to Jocko Willink and Liver King. If you guys aren't following these guys, they're pretty fun to watch. I don't agree with like everything that Liver King says about training and stuff like that, but he is a very fun guy to watch. He's jacked, he's ripped. And Jocko's obviously a very wise and fun guy to listen to. But recently there was a video done on Jocko Willink by More Plates, More Dates, talking about if he's on steroids or not and stuff like that. And there's always been a lot of talk about Liver King and whether or not he's on steroids. And the comments and a lot of the messages that I get in conversation about these guys seem to break down into juice or genetics camps. With most people, they associate Liver King with being on something, and a lot of people will say either Jocko's on something or he just has really great genetics. And although I'm a fan of both of these guys, and I think that, some of the first things that come into my head when I see these guys train is I wonder if they're on something. So I'm just as curious as the next person, but I would like to make a suggestion about how to think about people like this and other people in the fitness industry, especially for you guys who are maybe at an average level of fitness and really wanting to break into a more advanced level of fitness but haven't, gotten all your ducks in a row yet. These guys might be on juice, they might have great genetics, they might have both. But the reality is that both of these guys have a tremendous training history that they've built up. I'm not sure about Liver King so much, but with Jocko, I've listened to his podcast many times and heard him talk about some of the training that he was doing back in his Navy days, squatting 315 and 405 for sets of 10, sets of 20. I've seen his workouts on Instagram where he's doing dips and burpees and pull-ups with like a 25-pound weight vest, and the guy's got to weigh 240 pounds. And so that's a tremendous amount of strength and a tremendous amount of training volume that he's built up his ability to complete. And so instead of looking at a guy like Jocko and getting a little frustrated maybe and saying, man, I wish I had those genetics, man, he's just got great genetics, approach it from a different angle and say, how can I get to the point where I can complete that level of training in a week? How can I get to the point where I can be strong enough and in shape enough to do that amount of training in a week? Now, obviously, those are different workouts from different periods in his career, but you guys, I think, get my point. Another good point about Jocko is that he's been doing jiu-jitsu and I believe is a black belt and has been for more than a decade. He's competed with guys like Jeff Monson, who's a UFC veteran, and that's a very high level of competition which requires a tremendous body of training and work to get to the point where you can do that. And so he may have good genetics, but he's also done a tremendous amount of work. So especially for you younger guys who look at a guy like Jocko and say, man, I want to be there one day, don't waste your time wondering if he has good genetics or not. Or at least don't spend a ton of your time wondering about his genetics, because ultimately it's just going to be depressing. Worry about how you can train smarter. Worry about how you can train harder and more consistently, so that you can get to the point where, man, I can rep out these weights and I can do all these workouts and I can do all these high-level things, because that's ultimately, what we're going for, and that's going to get you to where you want to be. The same thing with a guy like Liver King. He might be on steroids. I would kind of assume that it is, but I really don't know. And it really doesn't matter. The guy is really, really strong, and he's doing a lot of cool athletic stuff. I just saw a video of him doing handstand push-ups with like ascending weight in each set. So he was doing like 5 reps with his body weight, 5 reps with 15 pounds, 25 pounds, all the way up to 45 pounds. And the guy looks like he weighs at least 220 pounds. He's possibly a lot bigger. And that takes a tremendous amount of strength. to be able to do an exercise like that with weight at such a high body weight. I can say from personal experience, I'm about 265 to 270 right now, and I can do 3 handstand push-ups, and that's like a max effort lift for me. Like, I have to move on afterwards. So for him to be able to do that and just crank out reps with it, I think speaks to a very long training history where he's put in a tremendous amount of volume. And if you follow him on Instagram, he's doing a lot of bodybuilding. He's doing a lot of supersets. He's throwing 100-pound medicine balls over his shoulder in sets of 100. He's dragging a heavy sled for a mile, he says. And so that's a lot of work. That's a lot of weight, and that's a lot of volume. In being able to perform that training volume for many, many years is what gets guys to a elite level of fitness, what gets guys to the point where they can compete with a ex-UFC fighter in a jiu-jitsu tournament like Jeff Monson. It gets guys to the point where they're 230, 240 pounds of muscle with abs. They do a lot of work, and they build up a tremendous amount of training volume, and they don't get injured. They have to not get injured in order to do that. And so, are these guys on anything? Do they have great genetics? I don't really know. My intuition says probably, but, who knows? Let's not spend a lot of our time worrying about it, and let's spend more time worrying about what we can control. I've already made the decision I'm never going to go on any type of steroids. I know a lot of people have made that same decision. If you have, fine. And obviously we can't control our genetics. So you have to come to the point where you say, you know what, I don't care what Liver King's on. I don't care if Jocko has good genetics or not. I'm just going to focus on what I can control, and I'm going to start repping out weights, and I'm going to start going for those runs. And if you're, interested in martial arts like Jocko is, I'm going to start going to jiu-jitsu class consistently. I mean, I don't know how many people I've met, including myself, who have gone to jiu-jitsu class for, 3 months and then had to stop for whatever reason, and then they don't go back for a year. So anyway, I hope you guys get the point of this video. If you're asking juice or genetics, you're asking the wrong question. You need to focus on your workload, focus on your training, focus on quality of training and staying healthy, and focus on making your training progressive in a manageable way. And I hope that this advice is helpful to you and that you guys can take it into your daily life. And I will see you in the next video.